Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Beyond measure.
I'm gonna show you how great I am. Last night I cut the light off in my bedroom, hit the switch, was in the bed before the room was dark. I'm gonna show you how great I am. Only last week I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
I was sitting there going, I got it all together tonight. Leave the fucking tape over the damn camera. Oh well, anyways, cheers everyone. How's everyone doing tonight? JD here. I'm feeling fantastic. It was moving day, which means I took a nice shower after moving. So I look all nice and beautiful, don't I? Even though I forgot conditioner at the store. But this isn't bad. I thought the hair was just going to be, but the men's 3-in-1 did the trick. So, got that going for me. Anyways, tonight, Second Amendment. Starting on the Second Amendment. And I want to say, moving forward, I'm going to be, well, not immediately, because I still am in Twitter jail for... Let me pull that up so you guys can see it. Oh. Got to go to the right screen here. Home. And boom! If it'll load. Today, Junior. My account is locked still. I broke the X rules. So watch if I try to do like a repost. 4 days and 2 hours left. Fuck you, X. Still have work to do. You guys still have work to do. All I said was, I hope James Carville... Well, I didn't even say like that. Like, die already, James Carville. That's how I said it. Whatever. I just gotta come to the realization that we all live in kindergarten. We can't be fucking adults anymore. Anyways. It is what it is. We'll get back to the news, and if we wrap this up, I might go long on the Second Amendment. Probably will, because one of my favorites. First Amendment, Second Amendment, the whole Bill of Rights, really. But First A, Second A are what most people focus on, and for good reason. That's what our founding fathers focused on for good reason. So, if you need to know two rights, it's these. It's the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. So, getting back home. Shameless plugs. If you want my awesome shirts, brains are awesome. I wish everyone had one. I'll get this up on the store eventually. I haven't got around to the store lately. I need to. Permanently Tired. This shirt is awesome, guys. Every time I go out in this shirt, before I ripped it when Hulk Hogan ripped his thing during the RNC, I need to get that short video up on YouTube. Hey, Google. Remind me at 6:05 p.m.
All right, today at 6:05 p.m. What's the title?
Hulk Hogan short.
Sure, I'll remind you today at 6:05 p.m.
Okay, so I'm going to put that short up tonight on my YouTube. I got to do some editing because my fat body is over here to the right and Hulk Hogan's in the middle of the video. So I got to somehow move my fat body that way and down, or this way and down, into the middle, and it's going to take a little while. But I'll do my best to get it up tonight because it was hilarious. I tore my Permanently Tired shirt in half when he tore his in half because I knew what was going on. I grew up as a kid watching that motherfucker do what he does best, And it doesn't look like he's aged a day since then. Like, I don't know. Did you discover the fountain of youth or something, bro? Because you need to spread the wealth. Anyways, or like South Park, Magic Johnson injecting money so he doesn't have AIDS anymore. Anyways, rabbit trail. Permanently tired shirt. Every time I used to wear this out before I tore it in half, I need to order another one with JD's 2 cents on the back. I got to be careful about that though, because I do Instacart during the day, and someone sees my website, then they'll cancel me, and I got to pay the bills. So I'll make one without the JD's 2 cents on the back. I'm going to do that for all my shirts, in case you don't want to be associated with me, in public, I should say, which I can understand. It's okay to be a closeted JD 2 centser, and cheers to that. So I totally understand that. I get that because I'm hard hitting. And I get that you have to be careful. There's a reason people fly Trump flags instead of having lawn signs anymore, because that's how bad it's become. The shitheads on the left literally go by people's yards and just tear the shit out of their yards and probably leave defecation in their yards and all sorts of nasty shit because they're pieces of shit. Anyways, another rabbit trail. Getting back to the shirts. Permanently tired. Oh, and the great glass you just saw me drinking from. Among other things, JD's2cents.com. Go check it out. You won't regret it. Or maybe you will. Don't know. Anyways. I'm in a good mood. It's good. Need to be in a good mood every once in a while, right? Even in light of what's going on in the world. All stems from gratitude. Gratitude. I need to do an episode on gratitude. I did one on my old channel, which was under the same name, but then I was a coward and deleted everything, and that's not going to happen again. I'm committed now. I'm paying $150 a month for my Starlink internet since I'm a full-time RVer, so that you guys can see me sit here and bloviate. Congratulations. Let's get into the Second Amendment, shall we? So that is full screen. Oh, yeah, there we go. So, let's jump right in here. Second Amendment. A well-regulated militia. What is a And again, these are my 2 cents. If you're a nerd and you want to dig into all the whole outline of... Oh, this doesn't have nearly as many, but... This goes over the whole history of arguments surrounding the Second Amendment. Okay, official arguments. Again, the Founding Fathers designed the Bill of Rights especially to be able to be translated by any layman like you or I, without any law background, any degrees, someone that can just read and write, basically, or just even listen to it. They can understand what it means. I mean, go back to the slave days when blacks were enslaved, and they heard this stuff for the first time. I guarantee you it transformed their lives just by hearing it. So a well-regulated militia, what is that? First of all, well-regulated, meaning that the government has oversight of the militia. So you can't just go start a militia and there's not going to be any paperwork to do or any oversight by the government. The government has the right to oversee that militia to make sure it's operating within the law. Having said that, we'll get to the Declaration of Independence after the Bill of Rights, about a week and a half, 2 weeks, that we have the obligation as American citizens to throw off tyranny when it does happen and to form a new government at that point. We'll get to that. That's the only caveat here, though. You can't just go start a militia and be like, I hate the FBI, so we're starting a militia to burn down the FBI. We can't do that. Okay? That's unlawful. These institutions are in place, whether we like them or not. They're there lawfully, even though they're raping the law on their end, but the institutions themselves are still there lawfully. Okay, so we have to combat that with more laws or amendments to the Constitution, however that'll go, so that we can either reform those institutions or just raze them completely to the ground. But we got to do it peacefully, and we have to do it legally. Now, it doesn't have to be peacefully. If we do cross the threshold, God forbid that we go to civil war, a new revolution, a hot civil war, and raise it to the ground that way, that still would be legal on the back end as long as we win the war. If we don't, then so that's where it gets to be a gray area. I don't want a civil war. A lot of innocent Americans will die if that happens, so God forbid that. We don't want that. Okay? I hope that we can find a way. I hope Donald Trump gets elected and that we take the House and take the Senate. But even then, it's going to be an uphill battle because there's all sorts of rules there, especially if you want to amend the Constitution, takes 2/3 of a vote or a consensus of 2/3 of the state legislatures throughout the Union. Okay. So anyways, I'm bloviating there. A well-regulated militia. You can't just start a militia that hates the government and your only purpose is to... That's a terrorist organization. Okay, and those have existed. Domestic terrorist organizations. They're not militias. They'll call themselves militias, but they're not. They're not well-regulated militias. Okay? So that's the caveat here. Again, my 2 cents as a layman. Comment, chat, hop in the X space. The X space is working. I will go ahead and send that link over in case anyone does want to X space right now, or hop in and we'll talk at the bottom half of the hour, because I got to throw my 2 cents in first for context, right? Otherwise, pretty lame show. So there you go. And Rumblers, I'm not forgetting about my redheaded stepchildren over at Rumble. I call you that. I love you guys. You guys are showing me the most love. Rumblers, you're awesome. Love you. Love you so much. I call you redheaded stepchildren because Restream hasn't adopted you into their fold yet, which is super annoying, so I can have you in the same chat. I've shared that before. So I'll shut up. Anyways, there's the X space. I'm there now. You can see right here. You don't even have to show your face. Your little icon will pop up from X. And even though I'm in Twitter jail or X jail, whatever the fuck you want to call it now, I'm still able to host a space. And it's still functional because some MAGA chick yesterday jumped in while I was doing pre-show stuff, and she didn't want to chat because she was shy. And most people are. I get that. Not a big deal. I mean, most people are cowards today. Sort of goes hand in hand. We got to start talking again. Okay, I'm going to challenge whoever that was. Deborah, I think, was her name. Hop back in. Start talking. We got to start talking. We're so afraid to talk to each other. It's disgusting. And that's Marxism. That's pure Marxism. Divide and conquer. Don't let people talk to one another. Don't let people have healthy debate. Total 1984 bullshit. So, anyways. I think I beat well-regulated militia to death. There, I can talk again. Great. Being necessary to the security of a free state. So now they're dovetailing it back, saying we must have militias, well-regulated militias, so that the states will never be overpowered by the federal government. Okay? Because we have to remember, what is the sole purpose of the Constitution of the United States? To regulate the government of the United States. And to hand rights, not hand rights, but to enshrine the rights given to us by God into our founding document. Fun fact, by the way, our Constitution was the second go at it, I guess would be the right way to say it. I don't want to say second draft because it wasn't. It's a completely different thing. uh, Articles of Confederation was our first constitution of the United States, and it was a disaster because it had too little federal government, and the states just ran rampant, did their own thing, and the Union was going to fall apart very rapidly at that point because the states were just going to all secede, and it was a disaster. So they said, okay, we can't let just the states just all go their own ways because they're going to get ate up by stronger, more powerful countries like Britain and France and Spain at the time they'll come in and they'll just eat up those states. And we can't have that because now we're back to ground zero of living under a monarchy and probably having to learn a different language. Fuck that, right? So the founding fathers got together. They said, okay, we got to redo this thing. We got to give the federal government more power, but very limited power, but not as limited as were under the Articles of Confederation. We were a Confederate country to begin with, and now we're a Federalist country. Okay, it's important. Read the Federalist Papers if you want. I haven't read all of them. I barely even dipped my toe in, to be honest. But that's what all that's about. Okay, this is how we fucked up as a confederacy. And that's why the Confederacy of the South and the Civil War failed for the same reasons. They wanted to go back to what was failing in the first place, which is a very loose bond between states that basically any state at any point could just say, well, fuck this, I don't like what's going on, so we're no longer the Confederate States of America. I'm Texas, and you guys can just go fuck yourselves. And there's no way to hold a union at that point, to be a strong nation on the world stage. I hope that makes sense. Again, my 2 cents. I'm not a history teacher or anything, but if that makes sense to you, drop it in the chat. If it doesn't, and you want to say, JD, go fuck yourself, drop it in the chat. As long as you're not here just to troll and disrupt, I will engage with anyone. But again, going back to what this was saying, long-winded, being necessary, so a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. So a well-regulated militia is absolutely necessary if we want to have a free state, meaning a state that's not oppressed by the federal government. And then it uses a comma here, which is very important. If it was a semicolon, it was going to be starting like a separate but similar thought. A comma just says it's continuing the same thought. Why do I keep covering my mouth? Just burp, dude. Yeah, fucking man. The right of the people to keep and bear arms, and then another comma, shall not be infringed. So this is all one thought, in my humble opinion. Other people will argue with me on this. I used to be of the other thought, which, hey, if you want to be able to buy a fighter jet, if you have the money, go for it. If you want to buy a tank, go for it. Artillery, go for it. That's not what this is saying, in my humble opinion. This is saying, as a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So, as a whole, this is saying a militia of the people of that state can keep and bear arms just like the government can. Okay? And then I'm going to get to another thing, which is very important. So a militia should be able to have the same weaponry that the government has. A well-regulated militia. As a body. Okay? Because that's necessary to the security of a free state. And then what it goes on to say, as the same thought, the right of the people that are part of that militia to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Here's the really strong point I want to make. Any person that's part of a free state is a citizen, is a resident of that state, a citizen of the United States, is a person in that state, right? The right of the people. So this is saying that any person has the right to keep and bear arms and that it shall not be infringed because they have the right to join a well-regulated militia at any time. So it's not like, well, I want to be in a militia today. Okay, now I'm in a militia. Now I get a weapon. No. It's, I get to keep and bear certain arms so that I can go be part of the militia when it is called up. A militia is not the National Guard. It's not the U.S. military. A militia is not reservists in the National Guard or the U.S. military. A militia is your average everyday citizen who is doing their 9 to 5 or doing whatever they do to pay the bills, and in the event that the federal government comes after a state or a foreign entity comes after a state and the federal government isn't there to protect them, they get called up and they fight. These are the badasses in the Revolutionary War that won the war for the United States to be birthed into existence. Just your average Joe farmers, blacksmiths, you know what I mean? And they were part of the militia. I don't see here the right of individuals to own fighter jets and tanks and all of that stuff. What I do see is if you're part of a well-regulated militia as a collective, then yes, you should be able to buy a fighter jet or buy a tank to fight whatever evil is coming your way that has a tank or tanks or fighter jets. See what I'm saying? So I think it was very well written here by the Founding Fathers that A, if you're part of a well-regulated militia, as a collective, you get to have anything that the government has. Anything out there, doesn't matter how technologically advanced it is. If you can buy it, you can have it. If you're an individual, you have the right to defend yourself and your family against whatever evil is coming your way as a family unit. I hope I'm making sense there. Some Joe Blow shouldn't own a fighter jet or a tank. That can go sideways real fast, right? Because you want to have what's the word I'm looking for? Accountability. If you own a piece of hardware like that, I mean, look at the guy up in somewhere in Gunnison, Colorado. I think happened like 20 years ago now. This guy transformed a bulldozer into a tank. Basically, he welded a bunch of lead plates onto a bulldozer, and it was just destroying the town. He was just running buildings over with this bulldozer. Eventually committed suicide when he got stuck on an embankment, high-centered. But that's why you don't want to have individuals with that kind of hardware. Because absolute power corrupts absolutely. And we all know that. I'm not beyond that. You're not beyond that. Don't kid yourselves. Don't be like, oh, I would be the human being that would do the right thing. Bullshit. If you got power, you would run with it. And you would shove your ideologies down everyone else's throats. That's just human nature. So don't sit there for a second saying you wouldn't, because I would do the same thing. We all would, because we're corrupt. At our core, we're corrupt, sinful human beings. That's why accountability is so important, especially when it involves munitions. So with that, that's my 2 cents on the Second Amendment. Hope you enjoyed. If you come across this video in the future, like, subscribe, share. Don't like it, don't give a fuck. Just do your thing. Be you. And I hope to see you Monday through Friday right here, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Federal holidays excluded, banking holidays. But I'm here every night, guys, for you. Just to sit here and get stuff off my chest so I don't get cancer. Anyways, what are we on time? About 5 minutes left? 4.5? Yeah, 5 minutes. So we'll hop into the news. The X News. You know you fuckers put me in jail. Desktop audio is on, which is neat. Even though we gotta listen to cackling communist. The cackling communist, Kamala. Let me close full screen. Go to XView. Get rid of this. Oh, I forgot to. Let me give you guys the link for what I was just talking about. Bad form, Josh. Bad form. You need to involve the people. There we go. Copy. Here is the Second Amendment link. Rumblers. Getting to you. You're buried in all my windows here. There you go. So there's the link. Cool website. If you're a total nerd, like I said, just hit this little button. It'll take you into the nerd stuff. That was a 5. Fail. Terrible trick question. Which is the proper way for a man to sit, left or right? The answer is man spread, like Donald J. Trump is doing right here. So the answer is neither. Terrible. Neither. The proper way for a man to sit is man spread, because we have balls and a dick. There's a lot of junk down there. Well, for some of us there is. Some of us were average. Some of us are just above clit grade. You know what I'm saying. But yeah, don't sit like Trudeau's sitting right there. What a fucking loser cuck. Look at that guy. And look at the contempt Donald Trump has for him. It's like, dude, you're such a fucking fairy. What a faggot. You don't like that word? Go fuck yourself. Reason I use that word, well, I won't get into it. I've said it before. Go look at other episodes. And I'll post on X occasionally. I'm following a good person on X now. Total hottie of a wife. Has a part of a nuclear family. I say that with respect. I respect their marriage. And they just had a kid. And she took a beautiful photo with her husband and her kid. And she said, faggots could never. And I'm like, that's so spot on. So spot on. Why do I say those things? Real quick, this is important. I need to say. Have you seen what was happening in San Francisco this year? Homosexuals were openly having sexual intercourse with each other in the public street, in the parade, in front of children. You want to do that, and then you want to call me hateful for calling you a faggot? Go fuck yourself. Get back in the fucking closet where you belong. Or even better, back in the mental institution where you belong. You're a disgrace to humanity. You're a disgrace to this country. And everything we were founded to be as a Judeo-Christian foundation of a country. I'm not pushing religion here. That's just historical fact. And if you want to sit there and butt fuck each other or lick each other's gashes in front of children in public, shame on you. And shame even more on the parents that took their kids to that event. You're disgusting faggots. And you deserve that word. You deserve worse than that word. That's about all my time. It is. 8 seconds left. So, with that, we're going to... Well, I don't want to end on such a Heavy, heavy thing. I mean every bit of it, though. Especially when you start fucking with kids, guys, you are disgusting. It was disgusting before, but when you start fucking with children, makes my blood boil. So, with that, let's end on a good note, a lighter note. Where is my thingamajigger? 99% of things you worry about will never happen, so just live your life today. Enjoy your life today. Be present in the moment and in life. Like right now, I'm going to enjoy a sip of this beer. Thank the good Lord that I just had that tasteful sip of cheap beer. Got my pets here with me. I got shelter. I'm going to sleep well tonight in a comfy bed. My parents got for me. Thank you guys for that mattress. What a blessing. Because my little terrorist monkey here, my mutt, chewed up my first mattress, like totally to shreds, where I couldn't even sleep on it. So, cheers to you guys. Love you guys. Love my parents. Love you guys that are out there watching me. You got to spread more love and not hate. Do not take what I said about faggots as hate. It's about relegating crazy people back to where they belong. Okay? And we can do that with words. We don't have to be violent about it. But we got to do something. Because they're coming after our kids blatantly now. And that is that's mental sexual abuse is what these people are engaging in. Oh, and shame on the cops for standing around not doing anything. You guys are part of unions everywhere. I don't care what precinct you're part of or what cop organization. You guys are all part of unions. Get together and start pushing back on these sick fucks. What's wrong with you? Don't you? Most of you have kids and families, right? So I blame the cops as well. Quit being fucking cowards and start standing up for what is right. Back to what I was saying, because I'm getting on a rant again. 99% of things that we worry about will not happen, so just live life and live it happily and gratefully. Okay, guys? Have a wonderful evening. God bless and cheers.